Hello, and welcome to the Animal Well Spoilercast and review from GigaBoots. I'm your host, Dan Video Games, and I'm delighted to have you with us. We also have with us Bob Video Games.
Hi, everybody.
Chris Wolfhart.
I like rabbits.
And Dr. Aggro.
Quack.
If you haven't listened to a Spoilercast and review from GigaBoots before, what's going to happen is each of us at the beginning is going to give a couple-sentence summary of how each of us individually feels about the game Donkey's Own Animal Well. Then after that, we let out a guttural sound to let you know the emotion, the primal emotion of how we feel about this game. And then we move on to a long discussion of the individual moments, the mechanics, the thoughts, the themes, the aesthetics, the everything else, the bunnies. And then at the very end, you get from each of us a score ranging from 1 to 10 and a summary review, all of which combine up to a maximum potential score of 40. It's like Famitsu, but we never receive a paycheck.
Yeah, we're really fucking up on that one.
I know, right? I think Horizon 3 is a 10 out of 10. Weird. That's what the last 3 people on this podcast said. Anyways, let's get started with Chris Wolfhart. Chris, couple sentence review and guttural sound.
There's nothing in Animal Well I especially liked.
Dr. Aggro.
Animal Well is a delightful, multi-layered puzzle box experience that combined a lot of really intricate design with fascinating visuals. I'd give it a, Oh.
Bob Video Games.
Animal Well is either the worst or second worst Metroidvania game I've ever finished.
Oh. And of course, me, Dan Video Games. Animal Well is interesting in that it feels like a puzzle box, each and every room, single screen action style, but microcomputer sort of game in spirit. Gigantic in scope, ripped into a modern era, and infused with Dark Souls in a way that makes me feel like people felt at the invention of dubstep. Bro, you made the Dark Souls Metroidvania bro step of video games. I'm not even angry. I'm bewildered by this game more than anything because at no level at the outset did I realize like the entire thing from end to end is just this room is an obvious puzzle or this room is a hidden puzzle. The single worst aspect of this game is that you can die. And I do not say that about video games ever. The single worst aspect of this game is the part where I have to move through 7 rooms again to get back to the room where a ghost dog or something came to life to destroy me.
Right, and sometimes those things can kill you instantly.
Yes, many things in this game can kill you instantly.
Yeah, they sure can.
Before we really launch into this, you know what? I'll give it a couple more minutes of us talking about it generally speaking, and then we'll move on to more specifics involving our individual progress. The aesthetic is interesting. Did everyone turn off the CRT effect? Because
immediately.
Yeah, I didn't even see the game with the CRT.
Yes, I did. I turned that shit off instantly. That made a bad first impression, if we're being brutally honest.
Yeah, I tried to give them all a chance nowadays because I liked Crow Countries. I thought they did it really well there. So every time I'm like, I'm going to force myself to stick with this for a bit. 15 minutes at most. 15 minutes at most before I went, no, it just looks better without it.
That demo for the yo-yo game that I talked about a while ago, God, I can't remember the name of it. Some
Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo.
You can turn the filter on. It starts off though.
Oh, interesting.
I was like, oh, they get it.
That is how it should be.
It is really weird because it feels like the CRT filter as an idea is really the hyper strong, locally made hot sauce of video game ideas. It's like, you got to check out this place's stuff. Oh, it tastes like shit. What I'm trying to say is Billy Mitchell probably really likes CRT filters.
Probably.
Yeah, this game, you go into it, you don't get a lot of ideas of exactly what's going on, and you sort of explore it, and then the game ends, and you still don't really have a good idea of what's going on.
And then the game ends again, and you know what? You still really don't have an idea of what's going on.
Yeah, one might say the game kind of ended like 2 to 3 to 4 times. And I'll talk about that last time later. We're not talking about that right now. There's an interesting thing with this game, and it is hard to articulate, so I hope people can be receptive to the idea I'm trying to put out there, including my co-hosts. I'm interested on their perspectives on this. There are many items and functions in this game, but it feels like each of them is kind of thin.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's the yo-yo, and it can do a couple things well, like it breaks spikes, but it also can distract enemies.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the frisbee, which you can use to hit switches or you can ride on it.
Right.
And it doesn't feel like any of these solutions build on top of it. Like a game like Patrick's Parabox, right?
Okay.
That's a puzzle game. It's not a Metroidvania. But the way the mechanics work all interlock in a way that adds more layers and depth to them. It's kind of like, what is it? Baba Is You does the same thing where it's like it has an idea, but it keeps layering more ideas on that idea. This is the opposite where it has like 12 ideas, but then there are only like 1 to 2 things each of those ideas can do.
Yeah, I kept expecting, because that's the main thing I heard about this, is that each weapon or each item did have its own set of things, and it felt like they did not do as much as I expected ever. But I was like, maybe I'm just missing something after, even though I beat the game.
I'm going to talk for a little bit longer before we even bring up the E word. The soundtrack being very minimalist is a choice, but it does just feel like it's missing. Like, to me, because they have the Twin Peaks like horror spooky sound that they do, to like, you're in the new area. It does feel like the music should be more present in general, but it barely is there. I feel like one way in which this suffers compared to a lot of other video games is that their soundtracks can be memorable, whereas I will be leaving this not remembering it.
Yeah, I even forgot that it had the Twin Peaks noise until I watched you play it again. And was like, oh yeah, the Twin Peaks sound does come in here. It doesn't stick with me because it's not unique to them at all.
Yeah, it doesn't have its own twist. It's like very literally the same sound. I'm throwing it to Aggro. Aggro, talk about the game.
There are, I think a theme for this spoiler cast is going to be a lot of you guys complaining about a thing you didn't like and me going, what do you mean? That was a good thing. Like, I really don't get how this is a negative angle on all of the items being used, because it isn't about, I'm not sure what you expected them to do. All of the items do 2 or 3 things, and each room, each puzzle is about figuring out which items you're using and using them in conjunction to solve the room. Because the room, the areas are the puzzles, and your tools are just simply the tools you have to solve them.
To me, I think where it comes in is, I told Bob kind of the same thing that Chris tweeted about this, where it's like, no end of this really sparks joy with me. Like, these solutions, like, I get the relief of having solved the room, but I didn't enjoy gauging with any of the mechanics. And since there are so many mechanics, it was weird then that for whatever reason, and I can't articulate it other than I did not enjoy it. It's like if you meet someone and they're a complex person, but you just don't like them.
Right.
It just, for some reason, doesn't do it.
Which is where we're going to have a basic disconnect. I loved doing everything in this game. I loved the movement. I loved using the items.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I'm the hard opposite, whereas, like, I don't think this feels good to run around and jump in. I don't like the platforming. I think all these puzzles are really simplistic because the items are so simplistic. They do such limited things. Like, the most I ever went, was when I figured out that the frisbee can distract a dog.
Which was virtually the last item I got.
And when I figured out that the yo-yo can distract the squirrels.
Yeah, that was a moment there where you change which way they're running in the gear, and then it changes which way the platforms are going.
Like, feels like the most complicated the puzzles weren't you have to think about it. It's figure out, like, engage with these things, do a series of events under a time limit.
Right, it's all about execution, which doesn't feel good. And the main problem with the game for me was that it didn't feel good to do anything. Like, you get a double jump, and instead of double jump, it's jumping on bubbles, which is annoying. And it feels like that's the way most of the movement options you get in this are, just kind of something annoying to do rather than enjoyable.
And see, the weird thing for me, like coming in here, is normally I dig games that are literally that. Normally, it feeling like some very indie, very old 2D platformer, or possibly even like microcomputer era, is kind of a thing I'm really into. So I can't articulate what is different about this, like why it doesn't fire in the same way for me. I just don't know.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. Like, the platforming itself was one of my favorite parts of this. I loved all of the complex bubble wand sections.
Yeah, the bubble wand thing is possibly the most enjoyable mechanic and frustrating mechanic at the same time for me because, there's that really long room. I believe it's geese or swan walking in the water.
Oh, the two herons or cranes?
Yes, the two herons. Thank you. God, when I was playing it, I was like, oh, these herons. And then I get here to record me talking about it. I'm like, I don't know, they're geese. Anyways, I didn't have the Frisbee, so I couldn't bounce it off a wall and ride it across. So I'm just doing like 30 jumps in a row. And then I get to the next room where it's the vertical version. It is heartbreaking when you die. Before you get to the phone after that.
Definitely a couple of sections where like you didn't need to do the water reset artificially this far away when it doesn't work like that in the rest of the game.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there are moments like that. That is frustrating as hell.
Yeah, I think what made me go crazy over the bubble was using it to get somewhere I apparently wasn't supposed to. Because you can go to where the game ends by going up the shaft in the middle of the world. And that took me probably half an hour to finally get down. And then I get up there and it's like, yeah, there's nothing up here, man.
This bird's running a good defense.
Yeah. Literally can't do anything. That was pretty demotivating.
And since we've talked about the end of the game, I guess we can open this up completely. Gentlemen, how many eggs did you get? We're starting with Bob.
I think it was like 21 or something, 22.
Aggro.
I got all of them, which I don't even remember the number.
64.
64. Okay. Full disclosure, I had to grab a guide for like the last 10 when I was just running completion.
Of course.
Yeah. There's no way.
Chris Wolfart.
Like 20.
I got 32. So Chris and Bob, do you know what the top is? Because it's the thing you unlock with 32.
No, I did not get the top.
No.
Okay, so the top is an item you throw on the ground and it slowly moves across the ground, and now areas you already passed in the game can be dug up to reveal new areas. So the first thing you do after getting 32 eggs is immediately recover all of your ground by throwing tops at it.
Yeah, I stopped playing this game at about the right moment, I think.
Yeah, there were a bunch of places where I'm like, why does the ground look weird here?
Yeah.
And then I got the top and did it on the first thing. Oh, okay.
Right? It's that sort of thing where it's like, after I unlocked the ability to mark the map, which is insane. Why is that an unlock?
Well, I think you start with the stamps, right? And then like later you unlock the pencil.
I think you unlock this pencil and the stamps as you go.
I'm pretty sure I had the stamps first.
One of the two of them is an unlock from eggs. It's your unlock for getting 8 eggs, but I thought both of them were locked off at first. Because I remember looking at the map and being like, I wish I could fucking ride on you.
I know I had stamps for most of it because I remember marking all of the warp points early on.
See, I marked the, because the warp points hilariously are white pixels. So if you just stare at this enormous map.
Yeah, that's why I marked them with stamps.
Yeah.
I marked the circular insets. So there are those altars where you can shove a circular thing into it, like a medal, and other things. That's what I used it for. Did you get the bubble one that just lets you do infinite bubbles?
No.
It's like at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Like in the last area, literally.
Huh.
Yeah,
it's great. You can just spam bubbles.
That's good. Spawn 100 fucking bubbles. Also, you know how you can carry 3 firecrackers?
Yeah.
You get a fanny pack so you can carry 6.
Oh my god, 6 firecrackers.
By that point in the game, though, I'm like...
Oh my god. Don't you have the fucking lantern by then? So it doesn't matter?
I think certain things are affected by the firecracker and not the lantern, but the list isn't big.
Yeah, there are some...
it's like the dogs can be scared away by firecrackers for a little bit.
Yeah, the chinchillas will move. You can drop the hedgehogs. Just a few things are affected by them.
So, Bob, did you enjoy hanging out while I played Animal Well and see me brute force my way past the dogs not having a Frisbee?
Yeah, that was great, man.
Oh, my God.
I I'm like,
But at the same time, when you went to get the frisbee, it was not a nightmare because you had the bubble wand.
because I had every item in the game but the lantern.
Yeah.
Because it was literally the last thing I did.
Wait, did you have every item in the game?
Well, no. I'm talking from the context of a normal playthrough. It's literally impossible for me to have gotten every item in the game because the inventory actually expands another row. Yeah, there are a lot of items in this game. There are 64 eggs. There's a lot going on with that. Aggro, do you know about the final thing, the super hidden Easter egg that the internet had to collaborate on?
With what, the mosaic?
No, time capsule.
No, I never figured out the clock.
Okay. There's a lot of stuff like that once you beat the game, where it's like...
Yeah, there's some like ARG shit and some community collaborative stuff. And
Yeah, once I read about that, I'm like, oh, is this what Fez is?
Yeah, I was telling people, I was like, this person loved three things: Metroidvanias, Fez, and Dark Souls.
Is this why this cast the spell on the entire games journalism industry and made them all give it 9s and 10s?
Yes, that part makes it feel good to the brain that loves mystery. It's a lot of why PT, enamored people. People were enamored with PT because it's like, how does it work? What does it mean? To be clear, that shit don't work on me at all. The aggro, you want to know the breaking moment for me? This is a moment where I said, I know definitively I am not at all interested in doing everything in this game. Is when I found out how you free the cats in the cages.
that was my favorite part to do.
You are fucked in the head, dude. Okay, we got to bring our co-hosts up to speed. There are 5 songs you can find inscribed on the walls at random parts in the game. You're supposed to know to play those 5 songs in the room with the cages with the sad cats, and it will free them.
I figured out the fast travel song.
Yeah, I figured out the fast travel song.
One of those cat songs is, I think, real close in that area. And then when you find them in the rest of the map, they're the only ones that look like that.
Yeah, see, I saw it fair, but like its proximity to that area didn't occur to me as meaningful because it was also next to the ostrich area and a number of other areas. It never once occurred to me to go back to the room I was stuck in solving puzzles, listening to the sad cats.
Right. Like, this is one of those things of what you will consider to be fair puzzle logic. Like, I saw a weird thing, and I started pulling out random items, and oh, look, the flute started activating lights on the cages.
Oh, yeah, that would help if I had ever pulled out the flute and seen that. That's a good point.
Yeah, I never had any even indication that was something that I should be trying to solve or anything. I was like, I found the arrows around the world, but I would never think, this means I need to play a song near the cats.
Yeah, I didn't get the cats end of that. I did screen cap them all, and I got, I think, 3 of the 5 songs, and then I read that the solution was to play them in the cat room, and I'm like, I wanted to avoid the cat room like the plague because I was stuck there solving a puzzle for a while and listening to real cats be sad, seemingly, and that was not a great headspace to be in. Yeah, so anyways, the ultimate secret, the time capsule thing, Aggro, if you're okay with me talking about it. If you're not, it's fine. I don't have to.
No, yeah, go for it.
Okay, so at the very, very end of this game, the super Fez-like secret, how the fuck does this work shit, is a time capsule you open that has like a tape player on it, and you hit play, and then the dev says, congratulations, you solved my puzzle. And then the publisher goes, I told him no one would find this or solve the puzzle. He just kept making puzzles that are like this, and I kept telling him no one's going to be able to solve any of these. And by finding this, you proved me wrong. And if I'm not mistaken, just like with Fez, people hacked it out of the game before they could actually solve it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course they did.
That's what's going to happen. Like, it's a little sad and a little beautiful.
Yeah, right? It's like, how did you solve my riddle, Superman? I tried 10 million times. Oh, damn, you're really dumb. There's just, for me, when it comes to Animal Well, my major complaint isn't about the game feel. It's not about all of these items being as thin as they are. It really is just, there's some missing sauce for me. This game feels like a dry nugget, and I fucking hate the huge amount of times I died and was sent back so far because they put so few fucking save phones in this game. There is a good chance I would be coming in here today to give it a higher rating if this game just had twice as many save points.
So that bothered me a couple times. But what bothered me significantly more is all the times it has one of these multifaceted timing-based puzzles where it's like drop the slinky, and as the slinky moves around, manipulate the path of the slinky with these fucking switches that move blocks. And, oh, you failed the puzzle, go back 4 rooms.
Yeah, there was one near the end that was the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one where the faster way to do it was to go to the warp room and then go down and to the left to the end game mouth. Yeah, I hated that room a lot.
Yeah.
I feel weird because that exact puzzle is the one where I'm like, my brain is starting to mildly enjoy this game. Like the slinky ones where it's like, and then you time hitting these buttons and you get 1 egg.
I think the worst part for me was the dog. The ghost dog.
Oh, ghost dog. Yeah, I can understand it. To me, and I don't know how you feel, but to me, experience-wise, this sort of genre, you know, the idea of the room is the puzzle, solve the puzzle, the rooms are interconnected puzzles, is the exact antithesis to the ghost dog idea of it's following you and it's going to spawn ghost dogs that fly around and it's going to kill you while you're trying to solve this.
It is
in a dark room.
It is weird from that angle, but it really just came down to it is asking me to do go way too far with this. And you can get easily stuck because again, I did this before I had bubbles. So much of it's like, I need to wait for a platform to move, so I need to stand here while he's going to go take 2 of my health bars immediately, and I just can't avoid it.
Yeah.
Without wondering, like, he's super hard to, like, judge where he's going to go.
Right, and you can't lead him. Like, a lot of video game AI is about you really steering them. And he is resistant to move vertically in a lot of cases.
Yeah, he just seems like the most annoyingly made thing on purpose.
Yeah, the bosses honestly are the weakest part of this game, and that dog especially is something that I did that section, that quartile last. So I had experience and tools by the time I did it. And this game could have benefited from a little bit of direction and gating.
Yeah, because I did that. All I had was the yo-yo. I got the yo-yo and I did that.
I cannot imagine.
It was terrible. And then when the last challenge ended up being the second ghost dog thing, I was like, guys, this was the worst part of your game. I don't even want to think about your game. Why you make me do it again?
I don't know. Ghost Dog 2 was funny because you go to the fast travel room. But then again,
I didn't have the warp song either.
Bob didn't learn the warp song from the fish in the basement.
No.
Yeah, I was like, Bob, I'm looking at your trophies. You beat the game and didn't know that? I'm so sorry. That must have been an extra tier of fucking nightmare on this already, like, dreadful game.
Yeah, because I went down and saw him do the dance and was like, okay.
Nice dance. Oh, you think I'm impressed, fish? Says Bob.
So the thing I did is because I had figured out fast travel by then. I died like 3 to 4 times to the ghost dog, and I'm like, and figured out what I needed to fast travel to get as close as possible. So I went, wait, this dumb bitch seems to chase you in real time. So I fast traveled to the furthest away from him possible.
Right.
Yep.
Then I was like, okay, I took out my watch and like, he'll show up any second now. And then when he did, I fast traveled and did it. And it took him like, he didn't show up until I was almost to the thing.
That's great.
But I did have to go fucking hunt down a key, because there is one room where if you don't have a key to open a door, you're not getting through that fucking room with the dog chasing you. Because otherwise you have to break down 2 pillars. Which I didn't have the yo-yo then, so maybe that would have made it a lot easier. I only had the frisbee.
Wow, that was the yo-yo, Jesus.
Which, Bob, you saw me tackle the first dog and the insane thing that happened when I died.
Oh yeah, what in the world?
So, God, how do I describe it? You take the frisbee, you do all of the platforming. And then I think it was at the end, and it's like, hey, do you want to pick up the mock frisbee or whatever? I can't remember.
Yeah, you picked up the mock frisbee.
And then the idea is you're supposed to put that back in the original slot, right?
Right, you take it back to his altar.
I died, and it was like, you got it, don't worry.
Yeah.
I was so
It was
confused what had even occurred. I'm like, so I just get to keep this item now? What the fuck just happened?
Right?
Holy crap.
Yeah, and then I go to the spawn point for the ghost dog, and the Bach Frisbee was just in there, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see how that's the solution. This was in a game that's been so fucking savage to me, unwarranted, of making me, like, for example, there is in the water area, the icy water area in the lower left, or sewer water area in the lower left, a giant vertical shaft. In order to open the way to this shaft, you have to hit a switch at the top of the room. You hit that switch, it opens the wall. You ride a bubble down, you throw a disc at another switch that will lower the wall at the bottom of the shaft. You need to then jump to the right, then spawn a bubble, jump on that bubble, throw the disc at another switch, and jump off of that bubble onto the platform that made. And you still have 2 more screens to go before you can save, and you have to do all of it again.
Yep.
In a game with that,
Uh-huh.
I don't successfully solve the boss, and it goes, whatever. I'm like, this doesn't.
That doesn't make any sense. It honestly came off as like, maybe that was patched in later because it's like, people are super upset.
I have to wonder. I honestly, to me, it came less as intentional, and more of just, I couldn't figure out how to code that. Like, what's he gonna do? You spawn in the middle, and then he chases you from where it fucking was. Because saving in this game is weird.
Yeah,
like dying and respawning at the save is really weird. Because it will keep progress items, it will keep some things. Other things will be back to what their natural state is.
Yeah, it's like Dark Souls.
So about why I think this game is a lot like when musicians called dubstep early on bro step, because it was the most obnoxious fucking thing humanly possible. That is literally how I feel about this game, between the weird Dark Souls sort of vibes and the fucking Fez-like post-game shit. I literally feel the disgust they felt for, like, dubstep, the genre, being born.
Another indie game this game reminded me of was Braid.
Yeah.
Okay, why?
But specifically because there was an anecdote I was told, or not told, but I read it on Twitter a while back, where people were just insane about Braid not having a start screen. Like, it's the future. You just boot the game and you're playing it.
Yeah, I remember that.
What?
And that anecdote, like, I kept thinking about it playing this game. Like, this is the X thing. It strips everything down to the basic. Look how complete, like, minimalist it is. It doesn't have a story or any music almost. I'm like, oh, God.
I like the lighting technology in this, and I like the idea of the minimalism art design.
That is the nicest part of it. That and the rabbits. There's that rabbit I couldn't get to, and every time you go past that screen, it stops and eats some grass. and that was the most joy I felt in this entire game, was looking at that rabbit every time I went through that screen.
Yeah, the backgrounds are definitely the best thing in this game. Just the art style they went with is really interesting, and those smoke effects that can bloom over stuff when you show up firecrackers is like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That visually looks very nice.
Oh, yeah, it's dope.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's really dope. Agro, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I think I asked Bob this question, but I can't remember if he gave a response. Do you think we're playing as Meatwad?
What?
I mean, we're a little dude who sort of just rolls around, and we're a brown blob.
I was just trying not to make reincarnated as a slime jokes the entire time I was playing it.
Okay, so here's me being, this is purely my damage, or maybe it's also Dan and Bob and Agro's damage, who knows. Did anybody else get to the quote-unquote final boss and think of the PSP Dust Bowl commercial?
No, my God. But I can see why you did it, and I don't think any lesser of you for doing it.
Not just that, like, I thought of that, and I thought of
oh my God,
Satan in the AVGN review.
Yeah, all right. I can see that too.
Like, just a very bizarre entity.
Yeah.
With laser eyes, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it kind of made me think of that meme about the weird cat being back again?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I saw him, and I'm like, oh, good, humankind wasn't the enemy. It's whatever the fuck this is. Holy shit.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. Agro, I'm going to ask you. So the faces are on a dial in an area, in the final area of the map. And by final, I mean for the final boss, not outer space, not the higher atmosphere stuff, not the secret bunny island, none of that shit.
Right.
There are faces on a dial, and you use the remote control, another 32 or later thing. Anyways, you use the remote control to change the TV, and it makes the faces in a sequence. I could not get that to do anything, and I worry it meant nothing.
Did I never try to use the remote on the TV?
Oh, really? You didn't?
Oh.
I was hoping the remote in that room would open the fucking door upstairs. How do you open that door? Do you know?
Yeah, you get a key for it. Yeah.
God damn it.
I'm trying to remember where I got that key.
I keep trying to get that room to do stuff.
Those faces represent flute notes.
Yeah. See, that's what I was thinking. But then the spell, I
remember how to get the key to that upstairs room. Prepare to shit yourself. When you get all 64 eggs,
Oh no.
it unlocks that last egg door.
Uh-huh.
You go in there, and there's one of those note dials, that diagram of the notes in directions, and they're numbered. If you pull out the UV wand, it will show you, like, I think a value of 1, 2, or there's like 2, 4, and no, I'm sorry. Let me start that over.
Okay.
I'm getting my numbers confused. Each of those numbers will have 1, 2, or 3 bars on them in a top, middle, or lower position. I think.
No. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Did you know your flute makes different sounds if you hold L1 or R1?
I didn't know that.
No, that's not even it.
Oh, thank God. Wait, so what's worse than that?
Or no, I think it's just top, bottom, both, or none. On the values like 2, 3, and 7. Somebody in the comments is going to be real mad at me because it's been weeks and I don't remember this puzzle exactly.
Uh-huh.
But if you go back out to the egg collection with the UV wand, all of the eggs have a certain number of bars on them corresponding to the values on the dial. And you have to add those bars together to get the egg's total value, and then play a 64-note long song on the flute.
What?
Which, from playing the flute on a controller, sometimes you finish a note and let it go, and it just plays another fucking note.
It's true.
Also, one of the eggs you get is called the upside down egg.
Uh-huh.
And it's upside down in the collection. So you have to transpose those bars to get the correct value for that one note.
Dude, this is a nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. And I really felt fucking brilliant when I solved it. That was the one where I tweeted like, okay, Animal, well, there's a difference between designing a puzzle to be hard to brute force and go fuck yourself.
To our co-hosts, the lantern, I already actually got it, can get replaced by a UV light.
Okay.
And so the walls have writing on them you never saw.
Great. Incredible. Things I really want to hear. What does lighting all the candles do? Is that good? Do you like that?
I'm pissed. I got 7 out of 9 of those candles lit.
Oh, I had to look up where the last match was.
Okay.
It's in like the first area. It's just you have to jump in this one hallway in a single block tunnel that's kind of hard to see.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was horse shit. every article or guide that came up on Google was just people being mad about where this thing was. But I think if you light them all, I think that's a way to get one more egg.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's only one?
Wow.
I was hoping it was an item.
It's either an item or an egg. So much of the end game is a blur because I did it all in like 2 sittings.
Mortifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane.
There are so many, because like you notice, or you may notice, the map in this game it Pac-Mans at the edges and the top and bottom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's one area where once you get, when you free all the cats, you go to a specific area that is the most bullshit area, and it's the smallest room because it's just a little vertical jump that's higher than you can jump, and there are vines in it, and it's too narrow to like shoot a bubble. But the answer is there is a pixel where shooting a bubble, you can shoot a bubble that will survive.
Oh.
So yeah, I just had to scooch forward while spamming the bubble thing until I got one that lived and I could jump on it.
Sweet mother of God.
You go over and you meet the mama cat and she gives you the wheel. which is like a hamster wheel that you can ride in, and it will protect you and break spikes.
Yep.
You go all the way over and you start zigzagging back and forth across either side of the map into rooms that just descend, finally getting down to like this 8 rooms deep thing where it's drop the slinky and throw the disc and time it exactly right to get through 2 automatic doors to get an egg.
Egg. Great.
And as much as that is said by our co-host to be a terrible part of this video game, I was actually far more upset by the Tamagotchi I found. There's a Tamagotchi.
Okay.
Aggro, of course, knows about the Tamagotchi.
Do I?
It's an egg with a display on it, 2 buttons, and a D-pad. It is so obviously a giant Tamagotchi.
Yeah.
So you jump on it, and when you do, you can fall inside of it if you're in the middle. And now that you're inside of it, you show up on the screen, and you're neon green on a black backdrop.
Okay.
And it says a number at the top.
Oh, good.
And you can walk left or right, and the number goes up. Oh my god! The number is 5 fucking digits.
Oh my god!
Do you know
I
how
don't
you
know this thing.
How do you not know this thing?
Where is this thing?
Okay, so at the top of the animal well. The thing Bob got too early, you can throw a top in that room on the right side and it digs a hole to show this. You jump inside the solution, get the number to quint 9s. You need 99,999 steps because it's just the amount of steps you've taken in the game.
Oh my god.
Huh.
I was like, I hate you. I hate you. I hate that I solved you. And I just don't get the reward for 30,000 more steps.
Yeah.
I should go check that.
You should.
See how close I am.
Yeah, you're probably pretty close if you've got 64
fucking eggs.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm like, was that not an egg behind that? Because I didn't get it.
I got 2 of the bunnies. One, the single one that brought Chris his only joy. I don't remember exactly how, but you can just get to it. The other one was in the top right of the map. There was a room that had that optical illusion where is this a duck or a rabbit?
Mm-hmm.
And then it had a flute song next to it. If you play that flute song next to the duck in the middle of the map, the one that's just to the right of that save phone, where every time you pass it, it quacks.
Yeah.
It turns into the second secret rabbit.
Oh my god. So you say you collect the rabbits. What does that mean?
I know there are a couple more. Like there's one that has to do with that pixel mosaic near the start.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happens when you get all the rabbits.
Right.
You get one by solving the fucked up clues in the office upstairs from that basement room you get to after you do the credits the first time. I have no idea what any of those were supposed to mean.
but yeah, how do you collect them? Do they go in your inventory? Do they show up in your home, like in your little room?
Oh, no. Okay, so when you beat the Manticore the second time, by going back to his area and getting to like another locked off room, and then play the flute to make him open his mouth, and you jump in it, and he flies outside of the animal well and out into space, and you go up like 3 or 4 screens. There's a flying island where all of the bunnies live.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super twisted, obscure puzzle game-esque.
So then you try to free all the bunnies.
Do the cats get to go there too?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, the cats live in the cat room.
All right.
With the big mama cat.
And as I understand it, one of those bunnies will try to eat you.
Yeah, I kept reading there's something about getting stuck in a bunny room. Like you can warp to it.
Oh, yeah, about that. Because I hit a point with the cat solution where I was just like, nope. I went and looked up every spell in the game. I teleported to that room. That room doesn't let you pause.
Oh,
Like that room, your fast travel spell doesn't work. You're just there now.
Mm.
And I tried to explore the whole area with the tools I had, and I couldn't get everywhere in it. But eventually, I just go, I don't fucking know why it's not letting me go back, and I did not save before coming in.
Oh, no.
Like for a huge chunk of time. What the fuck am I supposed to do? So I Google it, and someone goes, the same way you got in. I go, what the fuck? I already played that song again. What do you... Oh, I didn't play it on the screen I was on.
Oh my god.
And that's how you get out of that room.
Huh.
That place is fucked up. That game is fucked up.
Yeah.
I'm like, the game's fucked up, Bob. Yeah, aggro.
This is like pretty much how I knew this would go. You guys would bring up a lot of valid complaints, and I'm like, I hear you. I understand that. I want you to know that you're seen, and that like these are completely valid things to make you dislike this game. So I'm going to wait until you leave to snicker and go, haha, get good. Because I don't actually mean that. But it is the attitude I'm going to take into the future.
Yeah, once again, I didn't hate it in the same ways Chris and Bob do, which I totally get too. Right?
Yeah, if you don't like moving in this game, fuck it. Shut it down. It's over.
Yeah, and it's by no means one of like the worst or even most pretentious indie games I've ever played.
Yeah, it's easy. There's so many depths to that.
There are, as it turns out. But I have like zero love for this game, and I actually find things like the UV light in the top to be abusive to give me as a player after I've traveled the entire map to go back.
This is definitely one of those things where I'm like, okay, I know that people like me like this, and that's a list that is bordered on the outside.
Well, we need to wrap this at some point. Would any of you like to bring in any last anecdotes, musings, criticisms, phrases? Phrases? That's also an option.
Yeah.
For all of everything that has happened in this game and all of its casual cruelties and active cruelties, I still think the worst thing in this game is the chameleon boss.
Really? I rinsed that dude. What
yeah, no, he's not hard. He's just what the fuck is this thing in the middle of this game that is nothing like it? Why am I doing a wait while the boss does his rotation, and if you survive his rotation, you win?
Well, you're supposed to lead him to literally lick those enemies, so...
I mean, yeah, like there's not much else you can do in that room.
That's true. You could die. You could get bled on. I did appreciate that the chameleon boss shot his, his blood out of his eyeball. I know it's a simple thing to be happy about, but I was happy about it.
Yeah, that is weird because that is the most boss-like one, like typical boss there is, but it did just... completely left my mind because
apparently the seahorse is also a boss. I'm like, what? That was just how that room worked. Was that a boss?
Yeah, the part where they considered the seahorse a boss was really strange to me.
Did they consider the wheel a boss?
You mean the ostrich wheel?
The ostrich.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay.
I beat the ostrich, without many of the items. And Bob's like, how did you even fight them? And I had a fucking Grandpa Simpson moment where I just went, I don't know. Because it was very just barely.
One of the most interesting things for me was when I was chased into a hole by the wiener dog and he started stretching out.
Yeah.
God. Oh, yeah.
Yes, that was wild. Two things that brought me joy.
Yeah, it was great. Like, there's these little things in there. They're like, oh, that's neat. And then it went back straight into the draws of, this is another puzzle room that's kind of not interesting.
Oh, for those of you who didn't get it, I want to explain the remote control.
Yeah.
You know all those rooms that have switches that will switch which blocks are there or corporeal?
Yeah.
The remote just does that.
Oh.
But you have to be able to hit the switch with the, because it sends out like a red wave from the remote when you click it. So the room's design can still prohibit you from hitting it anywhere.
Okay.
Or you can see the faces on the TV.
It sounds like there is a decent bit of extra rooms for these extra items. Yeah. That was my other thought of like, I beat the game and it seems like there's a ton of other items I didn't get.
Oh, yeah. More items and way more rooms. And it's just one of those like, why did you I tried to resist reading it as obnoxious where I'm like, why did you roll the credits here when the other half of the game is here? Was this and now the rest of the game is for the real players?
Yeah, because it doesn't give you any direction. Not that it does throughout the rest of the game, but there's nothing to really indicate that there's more in the game other than a few weird things sitting around.
Yeah, and knowing there are an obscene amount more eggs by seeing how many eggs were on the egg doors and how many you have, so they have to be somewhere.
Yeah, but you don't have to know. That doesn't mean they're not packed packed into tiny little coves all over the already existing map.
It doesn't.
Because, many of them were even leading up to 32, which I was surprised there weren't exactly 32. Like, there are more than 32 before you can, get into that door.
Oh, yeah.
Because that door, I'm pretty sure, gave me the top. So that's how you dig into the ground in order to get to these new areas, a lot of them.
Mm-hmm. And the map is usually, for as intentionally vague as it is usually really good about, you didn't explore all of this. There's no line here.
Yeah, it's true. It's just so small.
It is. It's very small.
And once again, with this game, so few save spots, only 7 fast travel points across a gigantic map.
Mm-hmm.
It takes quite a while to go check what that thing that isn't filled in is. And sometimes it's physically impossible platforming thing because vines.
Yeah.
Again, that's one of those things that I enjoy where I'm like, I have to plan an expedition to this part of the map, and getting to it feels like an accomplishment. And again, I get why you wouldn't like that.
But you're wrong, damn it.
I think I might have enjoyed it more if there were more options, like the top and things throughout the regular game, and not just like, okay, I kind of feel like most of this game was a frisbee and a yo-yo.
Yeah, you kind of did. I mean, even the lantern doesn't come in until the last area.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God. Then after you roll the credits, some rooms that didn't before now have ghost areas in them, and some of them are hard to see, so you're just walking left and, wow, what the fuck hurt me?
I don't know, Edgar. I think Rimuru would have solved this way faster than I did.
Rimuru would have flooded this entire thing with poison gas and then picked its bones clean with, echolocation. Oh, I know where all the eggs are now.
Man, I wish I could do that.
Well, it's time to wrap this up. Gentlemen, give me your summary reviews of a few sentences, followed by a score out of 1 to 10. We're going to start with Chris Wolfhard.
I didn't hate Animal Well, but it didn't really endear itself to me basically at all. It felt like it just filled 4 hours of my life. But I can see some of the appeal, and it did have 1 or 2 little things that I thought were delightful. So I'm just gonna give it a completely neutral 5.
Bob, video games?
Yeah, this game really didn't do anything for me. It just did not enjoy it on pretty much any level, and I was happy to hit the credits and have an excuse to turn it off. That being said, the art's nice. I'll give it a 3.
Dr. Agro.
It turns out that the Animal Well is my hole. It was made for me. I adored this game's casual cruelty. Its refusal to explain anything. Its demand that you figure out its sometimes obtuse layers of puzzle design. I really enjoyed just the basic movement. The art is stellar. Even the rooms and the puzzles that were just a step too far, I really loved in a way that I can also recognize as maybe not the most healthy way to be. This game does have a couple of swings and misses. It does have some things that even I, who love it, are like, no, that is a problem. But this game was pretty special, and I really enjoyed my time with it. I'm going to give it an 8.
I experienced most of Animal Well in spikes of frustration and lulls of waiting to be entertained. There were mechanics. I engaged with them. I was challenged by them. There are ideas there. And there are vibes I almost appreciate. This might be one of the most complex scores I've ever had to give a game. From the sheer level of, it is definitely in my wheelhouse. I engaged with it, and it is a thing that I do all the time, but oh boy, I will not remember any music out of this other than the Twin Peaks out. That is Twin Peaks. You don't get that. And probably the Manticore's fucking face. I'm gonna have to give this game a very complicated 6. I definitely see a world where I loved this game, and it is very different to our own. Well, I want to thank anyone who stuck with this spoiler cast. Hopefully you picked up on all the hints so you can unlock the real spoiler cast.
Oh,
God.
no.
The executive producers for this GigaBoots video are Esme, Ely Broyles, Spaceman Spiff, Red Blaze 27, Brendan O'Sullivan, A Reminder for Symphony of War, Cooper Tank, Very Best Plot, Iconic Bane, and Rado. Thank you very much to our executive producers. And also these guys. If you want to become an executive producer or normal patron, head on over to patreon.com/gigaboots today.